Yeah, what's for your smiling face on the TV right there? Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the May 15th, 2024 Police and Fire Commission meeting. And we'll call the meeting to order. Agenda item number 2 is Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, agenda item number 3 is approval of meeting minutes. I don't think they were in the packet. I don't think so.
All right, I will move that to the next.
Yeah, maybe you can push that to next meeting. And then agenda item number 4 is appearances, public appearances for non-agenda items. None by Zoom and none in the room. So we'll move to agenda item number 5. Welcome to new commissioners. Commissioner Banks, welcome. Good to have you on board. And Commissioner Ibarra, nice to have you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you maybe just want to introduce yourselves, give a little, I don't know, how long you've been in Fitchburg and what interests you have, maybe? I'm putting you on the spot. So
we can first, alphabetical order. It gets it over with. I'm Angela Banks. I've been in Fitchburg 5 years. That's when I moved over to Madison. My interest, I'm interested in all things cultural, you know, food, dance, concerts and things like that, but job related. I have over 25 years experience in internal audit, regulatory compliance. So I'm really intrigued and interested in how things are run and how they operate.
Great.
And just really how to see how those things are running together.
Great. All right, thank you.
Well, hi, I'm Veronica Ibarra. I lived in Fitchburg since 2011, but prior to that, Madison 2011 in Madison and then 2021 in Fitchburg. Originally from California. What I'm interested, it's hard to answer because I got 4 little children, so I guess that's my interest. Whatever they like is what I'm supposed to like. And just a little bit about me, I've been in the mental health field since 2010, and I've been working for 7 years, working with victims of human trafficking here in the community of Dane County. Well, not in community Dane County, all over Wisconsin.
Great, thank you for it. All right, and Commissioner Baxter's not here, but we have one more, of course. And so I'm Tom O'Day. I've been on the commission, I think, 4 years. Here in Fitchburg, about 8 or 9 years. I'm an attorney, so like the law, worked in education law for a while, and yeah, so really appreciate you both being part of it. Brian, maybe you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Commissioner Russell, Brian Russell. I've been on the commission now for about 2 years. I'm going on 2 years. I lived in Fitchburg for over 20 years, actually. I currently work for the State of Wisconsin Investment Board in governance and control. And welcome, glad to have you here.
Great.
So I'm the staff contact, so I'm your go-to for anything that you need. I'm here to make it easier. I've been with the city for a little over 5 years. I love it here. But yeah, I'm your go-to if you need anything.
Chad Grossen, Deputy Chief of the Fire Department, but serving as the interim fire chief right now. I've been with the city 31 years. So just happy to be filling in the spot, keeping the department moving forward.
Al Morales, Chief of Fitchburg, been here over 2.5 years. My career came from Milwaukee, had over 27 there. So going on 31 years of service, born and raised in the city of Milwaukee. Dane County is still a little bit new to me. I'm still learning, and I'm getting to know it better and better every day.
Great. All right, sounds good. Well, again, welcome. Good to have you on board. We'll move to agenda item number 6, which is election of PFC president and vice president, something we do every year at the organizational meeting of sorts that this is when we have a new or reappointed member. So why don't I turn it over to someone else? We can vote for president and have that discussion. Someone can run that, and then once we're done with that, then I think I still play this role on the agenda for the rest of this meeting, and then the next meeting is when the new term for the president starts, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So why don't we maybe handle it that way? Brian, as the next senior person, do you want to run this portion of the election process?
Well, it would have helped if I could remember from the last time.
We didn't talk about it either, but and Sarah can help too, I think, yeah.
So the first meeting in May, there's always an election of president and vice president. And it's really informal in terms of, you might just suggest, I think Brian Russell should be the president. And then you get agreement amongst each other, and then you take a vote. So Sean isn't here today to be able to vote or put in his feedback, but it's really up to you who are here today to put forth the election for president and vice president. So anyone can start.
Well, I vote for Tom being our president.
So is that a motion? You're making a motion?
Any discussion before making a motion that you want to discuss first?
I'm new to
I'm
this,
used
so.
to a motion, then a discussion on the motion.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah, we can take a motion first, yeah.
Can I make a motion for Tom, president?
And I'd like to second it.
And discussion-wise, just one thing to note. So we've had a tradition last 2 or 3 years to just the president and vice president get together with Sarah a week ahead of these meetings, just to talk through what the chiefs have for the agenda, what Sarah has for the agenda, or anyone else has for the agenda. And then usually Sarah sends out a note to all the commissioners asking the commissioners if they've got agenda items that they want to add. So that's really the outside of these 4 walls kind of task, I think, so far. And obviously anyone can do what they want with the role. And then generally, the president runs the meetings, vice president runs the meetings in his or her absence, and then I think those are the roles. We have bylaws, so the actual responsibilities are outlined in the bylaws.
And those are included in your packet today, the rules and regulations, and they were updated back in 2020?
Right, since then, I think we looked at them again. But yeah.
So
Are you accepting the motion?
I will do it if it's of interest, yeah.
all right, so a motion to approve Tom as president? Okay. Is all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
All right, now vice president.
Yeah, I can take that back. So yeah, Vice President, we've traditionally done it where it's kind of by years of experience. In a normal process, we would have 5 commissioners, each of whom is appointed for, every year. We've had turnover in the last couple of years. People getting elected to Alder, and people we have one individual who passed away, unfortunately. But, so I think I would nominate Brian just because of the seniority. And I believe you are most senior after Sean, or before you're more senior than Sean.
Yes.
So I'll nominate Brian for the role.
I will second it.
Okay,
Second.
any discussion?
No.
Okay, then all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay. Sounds good. All right, well, we'll move to agenda item number 7. Just for background for the new commissioners, each month we have a report from the fire and from the police service. We switch them each time. So fire's going first this month, next month is the police. No kind of, nothing other than that, but this month it's fire. So Chief, go ahead.
Once again, good afternoon, and welcome to Commissioner Banks and Commissioner Ibarra.
Thank you.
Glad to have you aboard. So what we provide is a couple sheets of information. We typically try to share a photo of what we've been involved in over the past month. We were at a public reading event over at Forest Edge Elementary School last month, so we provided and shared a picture with that. As you go down, we go and share our calls for service. I'm following along with you because I think last month I kind of just went, kind of jumped around, but staying in the packet. We did have emergency medical calls, 131. We typically are hovering around that number each month. all the numbers for calls for service actually have been pretty even each month since the beginning of the year, except for structure fires. We only had one this past month, and that was actually, as we go down, not here in the city of Fitchburg, and I'll share that information here shortly. Total calls this month was 247. Total calls for the year is 954. We compare year after year, so right now we're just a little over 22% increase in our call volume compared to last year. And then we always share what our average response times for the month, last month of April, which was 5 minutes and 41 seconds. Right now, our staffing, we're down one in the career staff. That's the vacancy with the fire chief. We did have a couple more not retirements, but resignations this month with paid on call, paid on premises. And I have that information below. And then at a glance, our inspections, 382, that number will increase next month as right now they're in the prime time about doing routine fire inspections. Also during the summertime, our public education events increase. So you see that even higher next month. And then our training hours of 513 hours. So our structure fire overview, we did have a typo. We only responded to one this past month, and that was a mutual aid request to McFarland for a house fire. And then the one public education event at Forest Edge Elementary. Now getting down to the resignations received, there were 4 of them, firefighter Gander, Ott, City, and Myers. Firefighter City and Myers actually took a full-time job with one with Anago and one with Wausau. And then firefighters Gander and Ott, just getting busy with their personal lives and that, decided to resign from the department. And then we're just talking about the future here, about our battalion chief. Hopefully we can be moving forward with our battalion chief process here soon. I did go to personnel committee last month and that was approved. And then our recruitment process right now, we have completed our chief's interviews, but right now we're just kind of in a holding pattern based on what that battalion chief, how that pans out. Because in order to have the battalion chief recruitment, we got to make sure that we have the funding for it, and that's coming out of our operating budget. So right now we're working with Misty Dodge, our finance director, on making sure that we have the monies to get the battalion chief salaries there to promote. So, and then the full-time firefighter recruitment process closed on May 12th. We actually do application reviews tomorrow. We had 39 that applied. Down a little from the last time that we've seen, but that seems to be kind of the story across the fire service as far as applications. We typically don't see the number of applicants like we have in the past, but for Fitchburg, we think that's a pretty good number. And will essentially be set up as a list that once if we have vacancies here in the near future, that we're ready to go with filling those vacancies by having a list that's approved by the commission. This next sheet just breaks down a little bit more of our information, calls of service by month over the last couple months. As you can see for April, we're up 24% this year over last year. The calls types by month that I already reported on, and then the inspections completed. And then it breaks down our staffing report a little bit more in detail. Overall, total, we're down 30 individuals in the department. That is everything from full-time and part-time. And then overtime, we are down compared to last year. About half of where we're at from last year, because last year we had a lot of injuries, both in the full-time and our intern ranks. which caused those overtime numbers to inflate. But this year, essentially cut in half right now. And then we've been pretty lucky that we haven't had to mandate anybody to date except one, which was this last month. And so far, it's so good, we're not looking to mandate anybody this month. So, any questions?
Maybe Chief, could you just briefly go over the paid on call role? Because that's, the number of 30 staff, 23 of whom are paid on call. Maybe just explain a little bit about that role.
So it's actually a combination of paid on call, which are the individuals that live in the city of Fitchburg, and then paid on premises. Those are the individuals that live outside of Fitchburg. Everybody, when they work on the schedule, have to stay at the firehouse. So we have the dorm rooms and the living spaces for them. Paid on call, if they're not on duty, and say we have a structure fire, they come in from home. But right now, we currently only have 3 that live in the city of Fitchburg. We do have a couple that live just outside the city of Fitchburg that can respond in a timely fashion for calls, like say after hours. So for example, they work their full-time jobs somewhere else, and then we're hoping that they have the time after they're home and with their families, that if we have that larger call, that they can respond in and hop on an apparatus and bring it to the scene. So the same with like full-time recruitment. We don't see as many applying for that. Like I said, we do have a number that we just got done doing interviews with, but we're in this transition of a battalion chief, because right now our command staff ranks are down with the chief leaving, and then we have one of our POX division chiefs that will be retiring next year. That individual is already working well over a full-time annual hourly rate. So right now we have the ability to start planning for that individual's leaving the department, and the transition from POX or that paid on call individual into a full-time position to have on a regular schedule.
Sounds good.
We still will have one other POX division chief, and that individual also puts in 2/3 of a full-time, say, battalion chief's position, and he works 40 hours a week on his regular job and then comes in here. It's been, for him, it's over the last couple of years, it's been a little over 1,800 hours, where the one that will be retiring next year, he's been working over 2,300 hours a year, covering for our officer in charge position.
If I remember right, I know Chief Morales, you presented to the Common Council last fall about the structure of the entire police service. I believe Chief Pulvermacher did too on the fire service, but that might be good to pull just again for all of our benefit, again, to revisit, and for those who haven't visited it yet, what the structure of each service looks like.
Absolutely.
As we start working through
I'll make
these
sure I
issues.
have that prepared for you.
Well, and I think, like I said, I think Chief Pulvermacher did it recently. Maybe we asked and we had it. Now that I think about it, maybe it was at a commission meeting. But that's something maybe you
It
and I
was
can put
both
thoughts
police
together.
and fire, I believe, and you're right, it was at a commission meeting.
Yeah.
I can send those out if you wanted to watch a recording of it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that'd be good for to call us to.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Any other questions for Chief on the staffing report?
I didn't have any, but I do, okay.
All right,
And now, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
sure. Okay. Let's move to agenda item 7B is authorization to begin the battalion chief recruitment process. Sarah, do you maybe want to give an overview and then?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are waiting for council approval in July to make sure we can turn a vacant career firefighter into a brand new classification of battalion chief. We just added this brand new classification at the personnel committee meeting last month. So brand new, we're really excited to fill it. And so we'll go through, we post the position, it'll be posted internally. So a lot of our promotional positions are always posted internally for police and fire. And then we go through an interview process, we bring in community members to be part of that, so it's not just all internal people. And then we, from there, we'll bring the hire that we're recommending to the Police and Fire Commission for approval. So probably August, September, I imagine, you'll see a battalion chief hire. So.
And the career firefighter position was something that was added by city council this past budget process, something the department had been looking for years, is that fair to say?
Well, yes, we've always been asking for more full-time staff. It's just right now the priority, and we didn't know that our one current division chief, paid on call division chief, was looking to retire until the end of last year.
Gotcha.
And the whole process of working through the budget to get this additional firefighter went through the right channels, right? It gets approved. Then at the end of the year, after the budget had been approved, the division chief says, well, I'm done in 2025. Well, at the end of 2020, nope, the middle of 25, and right now he hasn't given us an exact date. So we have to start looking at a more sustainable coverage of OIC. I mean, we have our paid on call division chiefs are great. They're valued members of the department, but with that individual retiring, working over 2,300 hours, that's over a full-time position. So we approached HR, we approached the mayor and talked about, like I said, a budget amendment to change that full-time firefighter to a full-time battalion chief. We already, right now, my fellow deputy chief is willing to essentially self-demote into another battalion chief position because we technically need 3. We run 3 shifts, A, B, and C. So a battalion chief will be in charge of each shift. And right now we have the ability to get 2 this year, and then hopefully through the budget process or working towards that, the 3rd in the near future. So that's the priority right now.
Any questions? The referendum that's coming and is it now both fire and police in its current version?
There's a few options.
Yes, options, yeah.
But one of the options would include fire getting more positions.
Yes.
And are those all career firefighter positions or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, all full-time positions, yes.
All right. Well, then I'll move to accept the chief's recommendation to begin the battalion chief recruitment process.
Second.
Other discussion on the motion? The process itself is kind of laid out. I think we have a document that kind of.
We do, that kind of walks through a timeline, just because we didn't put that together this time because it's pending council approval in July. So we could bring the timeline and the exact steps back to the commission when we're ready to actually start the recruitment. Happy to do that.
So the position's not yet funded. So personnel commission has said do it. It needs to go back to full council. And
You
then
got it. We have to make sure that we can fill it as the higher level battalion chief. So we will have to kind of switch some funds around to be able to afford to fill it as battalion chief instead of just a career firefighter.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We'll move to agenda item 7C and a closed session. So I'll move pursuant to section 1985 sub 1 sub C Wisconsin statutes that the commission move into closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, more specifically to notice the commission on resignations of 3 paid on-call firefighters and 1 fire science resident intern. Any discussion about the motion for closed session?
No.
All right, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? All right, we are in closed session. Thank you. We are back from closed session and moving to agenda item 7D. Any action out of items discussed in closed session? All right. Hearing none, we'll move to agenda item number 8A and staffing report from the police service. Chief.
Welcome Commissioner Ibarra, welcome Commissioner Banks. Our monthly report comes the second Wednesday of the month when I have my one-on-one monthly with the mayor, and it's automated, so you get an email. I don't know if we've got you on board. Did you receive that email? Okay. So you will receive it ahead of time. We don't really discuss much of our monthly report here, but it's you're welcome to ask any questions regarding that report at this meeting. So you get that ahead of time, and what I usually discuss here is our staffing and our overtime report. Is we start with the staffing. We do have some good news. From December of 2021 to the present, we've lost 24 officers out of a complement of 55, a budgeted staff of 55. That's almost half of our department has left in the last 2 years. We've done some exhausting recruiting. We're currently down 6 vacancies. The last PFC session, we were able to get approval to give out 3 conditional offers. Out of 3 conditional offers, 2 accepted. 1 will be starting next week. That's a transfer from Madison. And the other one will be starting in June. That was our intern from UW who graduated with her master's last week. So she'll start in June, but she won't be able to make the academy in June. She won't start the academy until the next class, which is in August. Police academies are done 2 semesters. There's a fall and there's a spring semester. It's about 5 years. So even though we get we're doing open enrollment to hire, and we're doing what probably
5 months, right?
5 months of
Yep.
academy, but
Yep.
for hiring, we're doing a process every other month at least.
We have a continuous recruitment, so we're always accepting applications, and we're interviewing about once every month.
Once every month, so those can be quite exhausting. It's still difficult to get the numbers, but I'm happy that starting in June, we're gonna be down 4 officers. We got another process that starts next week. So even if per process we get 1 or 2 people, we should be going towards full staffing by fall. Here's another problem that we have with our staffing.
Chief, can I just before you move on from that, so there are 6 vacancies right now. We've made 2 conditional offers, so that will bring us down to 4. Oh. Yeah, we should open these doors back up. Hi.
Hi, I'm sorry, I misunderstood the start time. I just had a little public comment when you're at a point.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, come on in. We need to open these doors.
Thank you. Is it an okay spot to sit?
We'll go through the current agenda item and then maybe visit the other one.
Thank you.
So sorry, Chief, but just before we move on from it, so we have 6 vacancies. We made conditional offers to 2 who accepted. That will bring us down to 4 vacancies. And then we've got the continuous recruitment process that's working through. We've had retirements in the last 2 years, of course, and now the number of those individuals eligible to retire has gone down significantly. So you're thinking full staffed, hopefully, or expectedly by fall.
Yes, that's my expectation. I want to back up to the 24 members that left. Those were retirements, resignations to other departments, and some discharges from the department who didn't meet their probationary period. Here's what's interesting and what we should really consider when you'll hear me exhaustively talk about training is the people that left were in their 40s and 50s, age to retire out of. Close to retirement age or at retirement age. Our current staff now is under 25 years of age. So there's a big change in our experience. Our night shifts are roughly around 3 years of experience. And when we say 3 years of experience, one of those years is academy and field training. So we're very, very young. We focus a lot on training and a lot of supervisory, our supervisors being out in the street. You'll hear me talk when we discussed on our one-on-one, Commissioner Ibarra, when I showed you our future, our org chart of what I want to see, in the future. You'll see our intent on bringing in lieutenants for shift commanders, a detective sergeant to relieve our captains, our commanders, and give more supervisors out on the street to manage our frontline officers. Those are the subjects that are most at risk when they're dealing with the public, and we want experienced supervision out there monitoring that. So that's the goal when we have our one-on-one. Commissioner Banks, you'll hear me talk more about our organizational chart. So seeing that we're down 4 officers, or going to be down 4 officers, that still doesn't mean that we have enough officers on the street. If you look to your right, you're going to see 15 unfilled positions. And the reason for that is we have 4 that are in field training and 2 in the law enforcement academy that should be graduating sometime, I think it's late June. And we have 3 on restricted duty. Restricted duty can be family leave or injury. So with those numbers and the 6 vacancies, that gives us 15 unfilled positions. We have the demographics of our hiring, so you can see what we have for female. Well, we have that additional, one of the 2 conditional officers is a female. That'll get us, I'm sorry.
I have a question. I totally understand those are authorized, those are how many are filled. You have 6 vacancies. How does that 15, are there in that same number of the 49 that's filled, or is that additional 15?
Yes, those are they're part of that 49. The reason why we say they're unfilled positions is they're not out on the street, or if they are, they have to be with a senior officer. So they're not patrolling by themselves. They'll be in one squad because they're under training, or they're not present because they're at the academy. So that doesn't fill a patrol position. They're being supervised because they're either under training, or they're at the law enforcement academy, or they're on restricted leave, being family medical or some injury.
And that 6 vacancies is part of that number that makes 15.
That's correct. And that's why I wanted to explain it, because it does get confusing when people ask me. They say, well, you only down 6 vacancies. What does the 15 stand for? That doesn't mean that we have those patrol positions filled.
So maybe it's for field training, those people are employed by the department. Law enforcement academy, those people are employed by the department. Leave restricted duty, those are employed, and then the vacancies are just not, we don't have those filled yet. So that's also one way to think about it, I guess, is how those all add up.
Exactly.
Thank you.
The good thing also is with the 24 members that have left and the experience, there's good and there's bad. I like to always look at the glass half full. Our eligible retired members are now down. There's very few that are eligible to retire, and the one that's currently eligible has committed to sticking around with us for another 3 years. So we don't have anybody in the near future that's expected to retire from our department, short of leaving for another department. Any other questions on our staffing report?
One question about the eligibility list. Have we exhausted the list? You mentioned there's 2 of the 3. Is there more on that list? I'm sorry.
No, we don't even have an eligibility list because we're always just hiring as
Oh,
fast
no,
as we
we continue
can.
to.
So with the continuous recruitment, it's a little different. So we just hire as fast as we can. We're really efficient with it.
Okay. And our sergeant's list was the one that we had, and he just promoted the last one on that list.
That's right.
So we have no active eligibility list at this point in the police department.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the field training, the 4, and the academy, the 2, when do they complete the training and the academy? When they're completed, does that then, there's less unfilled patrol position?
Correct. The ones on field training, depending on what stage they are, and there's multiple stages, that can take well over 3 months before they're allowed to work by themselves on field training. So on that stage, again, I didn't bring the exact date on each one because they're different depending on what academy they went to and when they graduated, what stage they are. The ones in the law enforcement academy will be graduating sometime late June. They won't be, it'll be a minimum of 3 months before they're able to get off of field training, where we can count them as a number for staffing.
So it's fair to say, you go from law enforcement academy to field training.
Correct.
Law enforcement academy takes 5 months. Field training takes at least 3 months, maybe more, depending on subjective
Correct.
criteria.
How they're learning, the speed in which they're learning. They get at each stage, and they can't proceed to the next stage until they complete the first stage.
Any other thoughts or questions for Chief on the first part of the staffing report?
Our, for overtime, I look at the other part, the pie chart, which will explain the numbers. Those are the numbers of overtime, but this kind of simplifies the numbers on the other page. If you look at the staffing, last year versus this year at this date, we had 11 vacancies last year, and this year we have 6. Our overtime is up, as you can see, for 2024 for April versus April last year. When we look at the pie chart, that explains many of it. There was 11 vacancies last year, but each position was filled. This year, the positions are not filled because most of those people are young, under training. And the other piece is we had more, it's a good thing, we had more officers having babies. So this winter and spring, we had several officers on family medical leave, including 3 which are off on family medical leave currently, along with some injuries, and that explains kind of why the positions aren't filled, even though we're getting close to our full staffing. And that accounts for the overtime, which is, one of the things you also hear is our minimum staffing is 4 squads, 4 officers per shift. Even though we have 55 sworn, with off days, vacation, medical, we have to sometimes call people in. We don't have, you call them
Paid on call.
paid on call.
No.
We call them order-ins, where we call them in to fill in a vacant position, so we can at least have 4 minimum per shift. And that will account for the overtime.
Chief, with that being said, when those individuals were called in, is it more patrol, is it more in the office?
It's patrol.
Patrol.
Here's a number I'll share with you. I won't bringing that up. We've all saw the news. Is that 2 weeks ago, the Mount Horeb incident, the school shooting? When something like that happens, or an active shooter type call, that will go on the county radio, and any available squad within the county will get that notification. And obviously, an active shooter, a school, any available officer in the area is going to go. We had 2 sergeants, 1 sergeant on training, who was recently promoted a couple of weeks ago, and 2 veteran officers respond to that. At the same time that happened, our detectives were making an arrest of a serious sexual assault offender. So he needed officers to assist him in making that arrest. And there was no resisting or anything like that, but you still need a conveyance, you still need to conduct searches for evidence, interview people that are near the arrest. There's a lot of work that needs to get done during that piece. So that detective and team of detectives needed some uniform officer to help. Those 2 calls, responding to Mount Horeb and making that sexual assault arrest, gave us no more officers for the city. So we had to order in the 2nd shift to come in early, and that incident happened roughly after 11 in the morning. So now you start at 3 o'clock, no, we're gonna call you in to come in at 11. And because they came in at 11, the 3rd shift was called in earlier to help the calls for service on the 2nd shift. So it takes about that incident alone, those incidents alone backed us up 24 hours from call-ins. In addition to that, schools were worried. There wasn't much information coming from Mount Horeb, and we're not expecting much information when something like that happens. But now you have the local schools that are worried. And now parents are calling the local schools. So they call their local department. Is it okay if you can bring in some, just some visible presence near our schools as parents are blowing up our phones? So just to handle that piece of it, to reduce the fear. That day was super busy for every near jurisdiction to Mount Horeb. That backed our calls for service. It doubled it. Now, it doesn't sound like much. From the time that we got the call to the time the officer responded, that's 3 minutes, normal for that day and normal for the month prior. It backed us up to 6 minutes. So when we talk about calls for service, I'm not so concerned as to 3 to 6, but as the city grows, that time is going to grow if we don't pay attention to the number of resources that we have. So what worried me was the doubling of the time. Because if our calls for service start slowing down to 10 minutes, it could easily be 30 minutes for a call for emergency with an incident such as this. And that's where now it makes a big difference.
And you've got a presentation, Chief. This is the one you did to the Common Council, where you've got the city of Fitchburg map with 4 little cars up in each corner of the city, covering a part of our city. The agricultural rural community as well needs that service, and the difficulty of covering incidents. If there's something happening in the old town of Madison, that means the other parts of the city are frankly at risk with minimum staffing.
Correct. The city of Fitchburg is relatively safe, and this is not to bring fear upon anybody. We're a safe city, but it's 34 square miles that we have to cover. And that's what consumes our time is. We have about multi-unit apartment buildings where if there's a disturbance, you don't really want to send one person up there for a disturbance. So if your minimum staffing is 4, you have 50% of your staffing in one call. If there's accidents, and being a growing city, one of our big calls are traffic or accidents. Now to have an investigating officer on the accident and somebody to do traffic control. That could require 2 calls. These are the topics. Although we have shootings in Fitchburg, that is not the driver. It's the disturbances, the traffic issues that require our time. And the 34 square miles.
So Sarah, if you wouldn't mind going to the page before this with the numbers. So there's in the middle of page 11 of the packet, there's order in overtime. And this chart is based on the left column, it's count of events, the number of times someone was called in for briefing prep or community relations or ordered in for dispatch, shift, or supervisor. And then on the right-hand side, that column is the number of total hours spent in overtime. So there were 74 times when one of our employees in Fitchburg was called in when they didn't expect it. And ordered in, not mandated. And I think Chief Grossel, you were saying that's mandated overtime for fire service.
We only track mandated full-time positions, not paid on call.
Gotcha. So that just gives you a sense of hours. And then at the bottom of that column, on the right-hand side, that bottom right, that is 1,000 hours of overtime in 1 month, which is the equivalent of half of a full-time position. Mm-hmm. And we as a commission don't control the number of positions that are authorized or paid for, but that has a significant toll on the mental health of our service, both police and fire. And that's why we, maybe a year or 2 ago, started asking for these kinds of overtime reports to get a sense of what's the impact of short staffing, not enough authorized positions on our current staff.
Correct. We were awarded, it hasn't been accepted from the city, it's pending referendum, but we were awarded 5 positions through the Department of Justice COPS grant. So we're hoping that the referendum will apply to help us with that number.
All right, any other questions for Chief on the staffing report?
Okay, the commercial.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to share with you a commercial that we tried this time to reach out. This commercial is one that comes out on, what is it called, internet TV, Roku. There's algorithms out there to seek a particular audience. We're looking at an audience from 20 to 30 years of age. So it'll show up on whoever at that age group is watching certain shows that may show interest in law enforcement. This can be seen anywhere from the central half of Wisconsin to the southern border, the lake, and our western border.
Very nice.
Thank you.
All right, I will move to amend the agenda to return to agenda item number 4, public appearances for non-agenda items.
Second.
Any discussion? And we've had a member of the public come in after we kind of moved past that part in the agenda, so that's why I'm thinking it might be nice. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of amending the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself and thank you for coming by.
Sure, be happy to. Is this on? Is that it? Okay. My name is Colleen Chase. I thought I'd introduce myself to all of you. I am here just to mention that it's National Police Week. It began on Sunday, and I don't know if that's already been covered here. I apologize for my delay. I thought everything started at 5:30. National Police Week was established by a joint resolution of Congress and signed into law by President Kennedy in 1962 to honor America's law enforcement community. Furthermore, today, May 15th, is Peace Officer Memorial Day. Give special recognition to law enforcement officers who've lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. More than 100 law enforcement officers were killed on duty in 2023, 4 of them from Wisconsin. And 7 years and 179 days ago, my family lost an amazing man and highly respected U.S. Marshal in the line of duty. So I'm asking you commissioners to always keep in mind the safety and well-being of our Fitchburg police officers. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
But thank you for your time doing this service.
Thank you.
All right. Sarah, any other people join? Okay, sounds good. Thanks again. Then let's move back to agenda item 7B as in boy, a closed session. I'll move that pursuant to section 1985 sub 1 sub C Wisconsin statutes, the commission move into closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, more specifically to remove the probationary status of one police officer.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay, we'll go back into closed session. Closed session, and we'll move to agenda item 8C. Any action coming out of the closed session?
I move that we accept the chief's recommendation to remove probationary status from Officer Fournette.
I'll second. Any discussion? Chief, we're excited to have him off. Sounds like he's got great things ahead of him, so thank you for it. Thank you for everyone who's been training with him and getting up to this point, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, all those in favor of the motion to accept the chief's recommendation to remove probation, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay. We'll move to agenda item number 9. Any announcements? Please.
At 6:30, I think you all are aware, except we have new commissioners. We're gonna have a recognition ceremony over at council chambers we do it once a year. It's during Police Memorial Week, and we acknowledge the good work from our officers. You're all welcome to attend.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Chief, you mentioned Mount Horeb and the proximity of it to Fitchburg, and Colleen, I think, mentioned, or maybe, I guess it was you who mentioned the fact that our police really stepped up in that moment, as well as the police in Mount Horeb and all the other jurisdictions. So thank you for that, for everything you do on a day-to-day basis. A member of the Fitchburg community stopped by the Common Council last night and effectively said, it's great to have a law enforcement memorial week, but we should thank law enforcement and have a law enforcement day every single day of the year. And that's certainly something that I share and a belief in. So thank you, and thank the service for everything that you do.
Thank you very much, sir.
And then, if people can, make it over to the event at 6:30. Any other announcements? Okay, welcome commissioners, congratulations. One under your belt. And we'll move to agenda item number 10, and I'll move to adjourn.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.